what that was.
Okay.
So there's 6 of those particular units.
You still need an enclosure for these, or no?
No.
Oh, the enclosure's for something else.
No, the enclosure, there's different things. The enclosures are for the fixed stationary cameras. Okay, those are the ones that are mounted on the side of a building. Those are the ones that are on the pumping stations. These are part of our mobile package that can basically be deployed anywhere, anytime. So we're looking to have a hybrid system so that we have a series of cameras that are placed around the city that are stationary, that aren't mobile, essentially. They can be moved, but they're really intended to be installed and kept there for an extended period of time. The cameras that I just passed out the picture for, those are cameras that are able to be moved any day, any time, and can be relocated in a matter of minutes.
So these are 42,000.
Correct. Redeployed. Yep. Yeah, that's one thing, unfortunately, in terms of surveillance, nothing is cheap. But you want something that ultimately is going to last. The next item that we actually have, and again, we'll look to discuss all these further at the next meeting. These are the servers that actually are used to store all the video footage for our fixed system locations. We've got a total of 20 of those at $1,750 a piece. That ultimately will allow us to support, in total, up to 200 cameras throughout the city. So the intent is to have built into the server system a platform that allows us to expand and ultimately meet our long-term needs. So ultimately, in the beginning, we'll certainly have less than that, but we have the ability to grow a camera at a time if we so desire with this particular system. The next item also includes photograph. This is actually a tripod mount system. Tripod system is one that we can utilize more for rooftop communications and surveillance. The photograph basically shows you how the system is configured and ultimately how it's utilized in an example photo down at the bottom as to how it's used on a police response vehicle. This is more of a special events-based solution as well as one that can be deployed very easily on rooftops. So the police department, again, in this instance, we're looking to have 6 tripod units, again giving us a total of 12 mobile systems that we can deploy around the city anytime, anywhere as we would need them. But these actually, again, all are real-time accessible from the rooftop. They have their own power source. They have their own video recording capabilities. So that will give our police department the ability to deploy on a rooftop for surveillance purposes the system. Not have to plug into power if they don't have access to it, be able to run the system over a period of 48 hours, record information, and real-time, anytime during that period, be able to access the video for live viewing and also access the camera system to be able to pull data off of it if they need it. This also is a system that during special events, for example, like Riverfest and or other activities that we might be having along the riverfront, we'll be able to deploy these systems during those events, giving our police department the ability to watch from the sky, so to speak, what's happening during the event. Those events will all be recorded if we happen to have an incident. But after the event, those systems can be taken down, relocated to an area of high criminal activity. So again, the intent is to give us a lot of flexibility in how we can actually use the system. And all of these provide us access wirelessly. So again, I'll be...
Yeah. Quick question. Do they have any type of a tracking device like our phones do today? This one would steal one of them?
Yeah, actually the cameras have integrated GPS. Each, for the purposes of investigation, it will allow, for example, each video file actually will be embedded with the GPS coordinates at that time of the camera. And that same GPS chip that's in there allows us to track it as well. So if someone takes it, and again, my recommendation is always you chain these things down, you basically secure them. But if someone takes it, the moment they basically turn the thing on again someplace else, the chip basically tells you where it is, just like OnStar does in your car, and you go get it. So again, that gives us two different options for mobile surveillance in addition to the fixed cameras. The next item, and again, I have this all broken down into pieces. I know it's probably an awful lot to digest, but each of these, the next item is actually optional storage. The tripod units themselves come integrated with memory to allow us to actually store directly to the camera. But I want to be able to make sure that if Chief needed to actually deploy a camera for an extended period of time, let's say put it on the rooftop of a county building near the high school football stadium and wanted to do surveillance off of there for a month, we'd want to be able to make sure that during that period we have enough on-site storage to deal with all the data that he'd be pulling at that time. So this is a 1 terabit extra storage unit to give us video capabilities at each of those sites over a period of 4 weeks. There's 6 of those at $500 a piece. Make sure I got all these covered here. Like I said, I'll be certainly happy to answer questions now and or in between meetings then when we get to it.
All I would say is it's all the work you do bring it down.
No, thanks.
You have to do a lot of time and effort to do this.
Thank you.
Quite impressive.
I'm looking forward to seeing it turned on. I know a lot of people are too, but the key is, as we've said over and over again, any technology investment you make, you got to be real careful with, because whatever you invest in today essentially is outdated the day you make the investment. And what we've been trying to do is watch, and with this particular grant, go as far out as we could on kind of the bleeding edge to ensure that when we do make the purchase, we're getting the best we can get at this moment in time, and not investing in outdated stuff. The equipment that we're getting will essentially give us, I think with the 12 units we'll have with mobile units, it also gives us a revenue generating opportunity, because I know we have advised and worked with other police departments that they make those units available to other departments for surveillance, and they can rent those out to other drug task forces and actually get some money flowing in as a result of having that tool available. It's not necessarily always done. Sometimes they do it out of courtesy, but in this day and age, you got to make a little bit of money on it too. So again, we have an opportunity to maybe help some other departments too. Talk about that. And I guess the last item is actually the core networking equipment that's required on the inside of the box. Remember, we talked about that enclosure in the beginning. The way each enclosure, the way it works in simple terms, is that we've got a box, and that box can basically be deployed at, let's say, one of the pumping stations on Front Street. Within that box, we've got a Verizon wireless network router that basically brings broadband communications into that box as a backup or primary if we can't get access to cable or DSL or another alternative. So every one of those boxes is mobile as a result of that if we want to move it. Within that box, in addition to that router, we've got a switch that handles the communications between the routers and the cameras. And then we also have a battery backup system in there that gives us the ability that if for whatever reason someone accidentally pulls the plug or there's an extended power outage, that still means that the cameras are recording even during a blackout type condition, for typically about an hour to 2 hours. If we want to add batteries to it to get more time than that, we can. Typically around town, we don't usually have a power outage much more than 30 or 40 minutes. But if we needed an hour or more, this includes it. So this quote basically includes some of those key internal components that allow the cameras to talk to the network and ultimately to talk back to the chief's laptop and the police officers' laptops and desktop units as they're on patrol. So this is from Provantage, which is a large wholesaler, for 16 of those units each. The total ultimately for all 3 items is $11,875.77. So again, at the next meeting, look to get approval to be able to make that acquisition and get that equipment in hand.
What is the total then on everything?
The total as it stands right now with all the equipment that we had talked about last time, and this puts us right around $165,000 in total. The remaining money is used specifically for cameras, and now that we know how much left, in addition to those 12 that we'll have that are mobile, we'll be able to use that remaining money basically to buy the last lot of cameras.
And that includes installation and all this stuff? And
Because we're doing that basically in-house.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be taking care of that ourselves. Okay. Any other questions at this time about surveillance or?
If a business wants to buy into this package, they're allowed to.
Most definitely. We've got now at least price points provided by the manufacturers on all these that give us the ability to pass that savings on to anybody else that wants to basically invest in it. Ideally, my hope is that working together as a group here and with Dave, we can establish a business crime watch kind of an initiative across the city to give businesses the opportunity to make an investment that protects both them, their employees, their customers, and at the same time the street. So we, for example, can actually watch their front door, watch their back door. If they decide that they want to make an investment on a few cameras internal, we can actually give them the option to add a few cameras inside that are exclusive of this system, so that way we can't basically look at what's going on inside the business, but it could all be tied into basically the same recording system.